If all of those justifications to my actions have been completed, then I'm allowed to press any buttons. That would be the very first moment in time that I can press any buttons. Before I press any buttons, I fully accept my risk. My risk is always going to be less than 1% of my account size. When I risk, I'm always aiming at minimally plus 2R. When I risk, I always enter from the beginning of the breaker block. Stop loss always goes on the other side of the breaker block. Now, here's another important understanding. Look at where the stop loss is right now. This type of stop loss is for ICT. This type of stop loss is for the most experienced people. Okay? This type of stop loss is for people that have some experience, not the most experience, but they are proven because they have completed proven data for an extended period of time. You have results that are proven that back your abilities. Now, the last type of stop loss. This type of stop loss is for beginners. People that are just obtaining their model. People that are learning and trying to obtain the data to prove themselves. No matter what, the stop loss goes on the other side of the breaker block. Depending on your experience is where it's going to go. You need to make sure you size appropriately for whatever amount of room that you need to use for a stop loss to equal less than 1% of your account. When you risk, we have to be aiming for 2R or more. See? 2.3. You have to be aiming for 2R or more. Why is that? It's because of win rate. None of us, nobody in this chat is going to have a 100% win rate. Nobody in this chat is going to have a 90% win rate. It will be astonishing to see an 80% win rate. The majority of people are going to be about 50% win rate, whether they want to show you or not. Whether you're following them on Twitter or not. Whether they give you their actual results or if they're just showing you their winners or not. Therefore, understanding the laws of averages, this is the reason to why you have to be aiming for 2R or more. You only have to be winning about 35% of the time if you're obtaining 2R or more in your trading. So to obtain 2R or more, make sure the risk is accepted beforehand, you position size correctly, all of the justifications to your actions have been completed, and then once you press buttons, you cannot be deterred by any emotions. Right? You can say that you're aiming for 2R, but as soon as you get into a position, once your limit orders are triggered, are you going to align your actions with your thoughts? Right? So if you get an entry here, once you enter and it starts to go in your favor, are you the type of person to instantly raise your stop loss into profits so that you only hold the position if it's risk-free? Because this type of person is going to get taken out at break even without ever even being invalidated, right? They're going to take you out at break even, and then it's going to go to your profit taking level. So for somebody that never got invalidated because your stop loss is here, because of your emotions of not wanting to handle your P&L correctly, you're going to be taken out at break even. You're never going to be invalidated, and the position that was correct is still correct. There's many forms of fear. That is one of them. The other form of fear is, right, you get into a position, you get your entry, then after you get your entry, you start trimming profits once you're plus 1R. You start closing the position before we get to 2R. That's going to result in a 1-to-1R return because you're not capable of holding it until your target. You're not capable of accepting the risk. You cannot be deterred by your emotions. You have to allow probabilities to play out. You allow probabilities to play out by accepting the risk and position sizing accordingly. Now, the last form, before we go back to taking a look at price, reason for the lecture is because you can clearly see that our entry function did not occur. So it was easy for me to understand that there was no position to take. So we need to talk about our model instead of current live price. You can see it here. There is no, right? New York open. Failure swing lower. There is no breaker there. Okay. Last form of emotions, and then we can either have a discussion or take a look at other pairs. The last form of emotion that you cannot be deterred by is greed. Right? So you do get a position. It moves gorgeously into your direction. We get to 2R, and you're sitting there saying, I want more. The individual that does not accept 2R, does not accept 2.5R, does not accept 3R, because they want to hit a home run. They think this is the lotto. They think they should be making 100R and make hundreds of thousands of dollars on one trade. That's going to be the person that has a position move in their favor, and then after moving in their favor, it's going to take them out. You cannot fall into fear. You cannot fall into greed. The only way you're going to do that is through experience. You have to show up to live price, and you have to execute, whether it's paper trading, whether it's prop firm trading, whether it's personal capital. The only way that you're ever going to feel these emotions is by doing it live. The more experience that you get, the more conviction that you'll obtain. The person with more experience is going to understand how to handle their emotions a lot better than the person that has no experience. So put the time in. Work more. Show up to the session that you would be trading at the time that you would be trading it. Practice how you play.